Welcome back, episode 175 of the Bears' latest podcast. I'm your host, Colton St. Vincent. Thanks for joining us. We're talking Bears football today. We're starting off with Tyreek Hill. Now, this is a name I haven't seen much connected to the Bears all offseason. Haven't seen much on Tyreek pretty much all year so far. Leaves the Dolphins. Dolphins are an absolute garbage fire. And now Tyreek, who I believe is coming off of an injury, is actually looking to sign as a free agent for the first time, I believe, in his career. He was traded to the Dolphins and then signed a big extension. So first time that he is going to be signing as a free agent. Now, expectation is that Tyreek will start on the PUP list, physically unable to perform PUP list. And why do I bring this up? Why am I talking about this? Well, on Kalshi and Polymarket, the websites that you can pretty much bet on anything, Kalshi has the Bears at 20% likely to sign Hill. They have had over $100,000 bet on the Bears at the time of this. Polymarket, on the other hand, has 45% chance to sign Tyreek Hill. So what do you guys think? Do you want Tyreek Hill? Do you want him on the Bears? He doesn't seem like a good locker room guy. However, Ben Johnson doesn't seem like the kind of head coach that would put up with it. So I don't know if it's a good thing that we have Ben Johnson or if it's a bad thing in this situation. I just don't want anyone coming in messing up Caleb's confidence, Caleb's leadership abilities, all of that. So I doubt the Bears get him. I think it's a situation where they would rather roll the dice on a rookie than an injured veteran for money reasons, for attitude reasons, for fit reasons. So who knows? And there's also a chance that since he's going to be starting on the PUP list, he may not even sign until later in the season. At that point, there may be some specific injuries on specific teams and specific suitors that could really make Tyreek Hill a more attractive free agent. But for right now, it's increasing every single day. The Bears are getting better and better odds to sign the wide receiver. Next up, Matt Forte. Matt Forte was on a couple of shows recently, Bears legend. He didn't say anything too crazy out of the norm. I just like to talk about Matt Forte. One of the more underrated Bears of our lifetimes. And he's still one of the biggest fan favorites I can think of. But the dude was so good. He was so good. I think he's like top 5 in rushing, receptions, and receiving yards or something like that in Bears history. So, also, he talked to Bears Wire. Bears Goggles on. BGO wrote about this. So go read BGO, Bears Goggles on. While talking to Bears Wire, Matt Forte says, address the defense first and foremost. Defensively, I noticed in the playoffs, especially against the Rams, that the offensive line of the Rams really kind of wore down the Bears and established the run in a dominant way that allowed them to essentially win the game at the end. That was something that wasn't necessarily new for that game. I agree, dude. I think Dennis Allen was really working on putting a defense together with popsicle sticks and glue. I think it wasn't a good defense to begin with, and I think injuries made it 10 times worse. So I think last year's defense shows how much we need it. I think with Ben Johnson, we can be creative and hopefully get different offenses going if we need it, because I don't think we really need to add to the offense here. So adding to the defense would be helpful. We've talked about guys like Peter Woods, defensive tackle out of Clemson, and Caden McDonald, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Great names. Zion Young, edge rusher out of Missouri. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, safety out of Toledo, and Dylan Thieneman, safety out of Oregon. Those are all names that we've talked about recently on this show connected to the Bears. Along with these two names that were coming up right now, the next we've talked about a couple times, Cassius Howell. Now, CBS Sports, Carter Bonds had his 7-round mock draft, and he posted his Bears findings, his Bears picks. In the first round, he's got Cassius Howell, Texas A&M edge rusher. Dude's a monster. I don't understand how he is falling. He's like a top 5 edge rusher in this class. He was 1 sack behind Myles Garrett for the most sacks in a season in Texas A&M recent history, last 20 years. 11 and a half sacks at Texas A&M. He says, or his draft profile says, considering they addressed every position of need except edge rusher and free agency, it seems like the Bears tipped their hand in regard to their first-round draft strategy. Their top priority this month should be to find a starting caliber weapon to deploy with Montez Sweat. In such a deep draft class at this position, any of the edge rushers available at the back end of the first round would qualify, but Cassius Howell lacks the measurements of a bona fide future star. That did not slow him down last season when he emerged as SEC Defensive Player of the Year and shouldn't stop Chicago from investing in him. Seems like a perfect situation to kind of take advantage of measurements that seem crazy because 6'3" seems like a reasonable size. He has short arms, apparently, so he's relentless with an 11 out of 10 motor. Unanimous All-American, SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Against Utah State last season, he had a sack on 3 consecutive plays. That alone should be pretty goddamn sweet. Pretty tough to beat. 4.59 40-yard dash. 32 vertical. All right, I'll read his weaknesses first. He verified sub 30-inch arm, creating an historical outlier profile for the position. That might be the specific measurements that we were talking about. I don't know if there are certain ways to counteract small arms as an edge rusher, but yeah, this dude's going to pretty much let us know if that's possible. It says he lacks elite bend, occasionally causing him to overshoot the quarterback and can struggle to shed blocks if offensive linemen latch on early. Now, those seem like stuff that can be helped in the NFL, but I don't know. What the hell do I know? His strengths features a dangerous inside spin move and an effective bull rush. Capably defends slot receivers and running backs in man coverage. That's pretty sweet. Plays with elite effort and urgency from snap to whistle. So he's a high motor guy. He apparently can defend receivers. That seems like a pretty valuable asset to me. So Cassius Howell is a name to keep an eye out for the draft this month. This next one is the first time that we've talked about this fella. A.J. Halsey. It's his safety out of LSU. So he was a senior, so he's got a nice veteran moxie to him. But CBS Sports draft profile says he is the 6th best safety in the draft, 63rd overall. We'd be getting him around 57. So, quote, the Bears need to find a safety on day 2 who can contribute right away, ideally as a starter. They get one here with their first of 2 second-round picks in A.J. Halsey, who has been on quite a climb over the last 4 years, from New Mexico to Houston and most recently to LSU. He thrived at every level, largely thanks to his ball skills, where he fits really well with the Bears and with his physicality. Halsey, with his imposing stature and ability to step into the box, is perfect complement to offseason free safety acquisition Kobe Bryant. That sounds pretty sweet. A situation where our secondary was just so banged up last year that we were just kind of playing anybody and anyone. Everyone and everyone. And anyone and all of them. Every single one. You ever hear that phrase? Let's read his draft scouting report on CBS Sports, huh? That was just a little blurb. I ran the 40 at 4.52. He was first team All Big 12 at Houston, and he had the fourth most interceptions last season. He had 8. 8 interceptions. His weaknesses, he's a tight frame, shows up when trying to wrangle ball carriers in space. Below average range, needs to align closer to the line, and says he can look labored breaking down and changing direction in space. Strengths, thickly built safety who packs a punch coming downhill, closes downhill in sync with receivers' breaks, and flies downhill as an add-on defender in the box with no hesitation. So he just seems like a thick boy that can run and just hit the shit out of people. It's a very enticing situation. To be honest, I think everything about this guy seems pretty sick. Maybe it's because it's safety and you have to be like absolutely elite to go in the first round, but kind of surprised he's not going in the first round in these mocks. But that's why they're mocks, and that's why we play the game. That's why we do the podcast. That's why you guys listen to it, which I appreciate, because this was episode 175 of the Bears' latest podcast. I'm your host, Colton St. Vincent. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you guys in tomorrow's episode.